everybody. I'm still struggling a bit to get it running on YouTube. To have a different page now, and you need to go live in your streaming software, and then you need to go in the upper section again, go live. So it's a bit strange, maybe a bit similar to how Facebook works. Yeah, we had this month we have Bluetooth month, and I just played one of the things. I just combined a few of these sounds of Bluetooth. So we will be on Bluetooth today again, in case you have questions. So this is the last day of the Bluetooth month, then very soon we have again February, and we will focus there on some new things where we can talk about. And of course today I have some news about Punch-2. We are very far. I can show you already the new mode we will have. There are some new samples coming into this Punch-2 with tabla. Very interesting sound. I always loved this tabla sound. So we're working on that. So there's much which is going to be ahead. And in the newsletter we also mentioned that we will have a quad, which we originally designed for a reason, also will be a VST. And that will be then part of the Explorer 6 bundle. And here we have it's a nice sound, isn't it? Bluetooth, but maybe best to show you a few new things which are ahead. Well, I'm working currently complete control for the users which have complete control. We work on Punch-2, making it compatible with NKS. Took a bit longer than normally, but that had, of course, the reason there was December and, you know, all these things which pop up. And, of course, our programmers also need their time off. And so very soon we send that first also for testing to Native Instruments. But if you have complete control, which is a keyboard like this, or you have, for instance, the machine, you will be also able to double click, and down here, where is it? Oh, I need to scan this one. Okay, doesn't pop up yet. Okay, that's a good one. So let's see how that worked again. Because, oh, maybe I simply also could say, okay, load up machine. That's another option. That's a bit faster. Here it is. Because in machine I already went to preferences and did a rescan so that the new instruments pop up. So I have all instruments, and here you see there is Punch-2. And there it is, and you see all the banks. And the cool thing about the cool thing is that you have previews, audio previews. So if you click on a preset, you hear essentially already what's inside the presets. And especially with Punch-2, that's handy because we use the auditions for having these previews. So this is the dance bank. So essentially if you use, okay, let's close this one. And this one here, sorry. Now we have the machine 2 here open. I think you can see it now. Machine is also a sequencer inside, a sequencer base, but yeah, if you have machine or complete control, you can use it. So when you use this, you don't use the built-in browser from our plugins, but you use the browser from Native Instruments, where you pick here a preset to audition, and if you double click, then it loads in, and then you can also play with the and you can see, double click here, then you can open the thing, and yeah, this is the audition. And you see the audition which you can have here by clicking on this one. It's the same. So that's a handy system. You can use the tagging from there. So I'm tagging now the instruments. And what you can see is that there are also some other things you can have the easing controls. So the easing controls are this way laid out. There are a few controls which we added. Double click here on the name opens Punch and the easy page. Here you can control by using these the dials here. You can see it. Okay, let's make it more visible for you guys. I'll need to do this here. 1 second. Then you see. Here you go. There you see my complete control keyboard. Let me check if you have everything visible. I think so. Yeah, and then you see the dials here. And you also can see them in machine. So when I go down, you see them here. And you can change the main volume. But also the pitch from the synthesizer part the whole time. So you can do some cool stuff. You see it? I think you guys, you can see it. Page number 2 is the easy page part 2. Sometimes it does weird stuff, and that's cool. The easy page is essentially more a fun page. So if I would click now a different page, for instance this drum kit, you can see that they'll also have the mixer page. So you have can control pad 1, the volumes of the, which is of course also visible here in the master page. There we have the volumes. So if I turn here one of the see them, so you can use, this is the first 8, then you go to the next page, you have another 8, next page another 8, and then you have all 24 covered. So this is a something which will be released also hopefully in February. We can have this Punch-2 NKS compatible. It's fun. The advantage is that you have a preview. So you could say, okay, go to another different bank, hip hop bank, and you right away hear what is inside this drum kit. So you don't have to load it. If you double click, you load it. So that's in progress. No, let's go back to the wrong. That's the wrong one. To Punch-2 itself, and there I can show you what it's going to be new. Okay, I'm checking in the meantime the chat room. Today now not so many people in the chat room, but of course people sometimes have to work, or it's a different time table where they, or time part of the world where they live. And okay, what I can see now is that I can move the keyboard a bit more to the left. Let's see, I can see that on the right side where I see what I'm streaming. So I should of course not have the case that you okay, even a bit more. Perfect. Okay, what is next? Well, this is the original Punch. No, we should go to Punch-2. Here it is. And this is the smaller version now, because the big screen version doesn't have yet the new features. Okay, so I'm playing it now, and what we will have now is, because the audition is what you know, maybe from Punch. Here you can select which one is playing, so which of the grooves. So you can select groove 1 and 2 and make that the audition. And that's of course great to hear what is inside this drum kit, what all are the sounds. It really gives a great impression of what it is. Therefore we also call it audition. And of course you also can play manual, trigger these groove and sequences. Oh yeah, somebody's talking about YouTube is bad with the notifications. Yeah, I must say I must learn it a bit, because you also can make it in an event and then it tells you it's over 2 hours. But I'm not sure if sometimes think, okay, something pops up and then you see, okay, I need to wait for 2 hours. That's a bit weird. So, but anyhow, the live stream is always 8 o'clock Central European time, so keep that in mind. And every Thursday I'm there, with the exception of course, maybe if I'm ill or having a trade show, or if there is a public holiday, or when I'm having my holiday. So, but then normally I'm here at Thursday, and so I would say spread it around, because yeah, everybody seems to enjoy it, and you always can ask a question. I mean, we don't meet in person, but I'm here and you can ask a question. So yeah, Punch-2 looks now a bit small on the screen. I could increase it, but let me see if I can do that. Maybe because I can always go back again. Okay, then you need to do this, always on top. Then it stays always on top. Very weird feature in... Okay, and let me tweak a bit the screen here, make it bigger. Okay. Now it should be bigger for you guys. Let me check again. There's a bit of a delay in what I do and what you guys see. It's almost half a... Yeah, oh, okay. Yeah, you see it now. Perfect. Oops. Yeah, that's really good now. Okay, so what will be new? New is the audition sequencer mode. So when you go now to pattern, you have the option here not to use only audition mode, but also sequencer mode. When I click here, you see a grid. And that is very, very nice as a new feature, because then you can make the sequences come in and come out in a sequence order. This, I must tell you, is the mock-up, so the final one will be a bit nicer looking at, so we move things a bit. But let me show you how it works. So here you see the sequencer, and then you see you can have the length is should be then 16 steps. Okay. Okay, let me see. 16 steps. Yes. Okay. I hit now, but here you see the button change. It is now sequence mode. That will be labeled audition sequenced. And you saw shown here is then how you build up your groove. Okay, this one is not okay. Clear triggers. Okay, this is better. Then I have everything set to the length, 16 steps. And you see groove 1 is 16 steps, so I could make it shorter here, even 8. And then of course step 2 could be... So this is a nice feature that you can change the length of it. And then of course you can start building it up. So I keep this one 16 times. Okay, so it's like a traditional old style drum computer where you say, okay, then of course you can check here if something is playing, groove 4. So So break 3, break 1 I could use, break 1. And do this on step 4. So you see, you can the audition is you can make it far more alive so that it changes over time. So you could start in something and which changes over time. So the dial or the note remains the same, which is the G3 sharp, this one. And you see also here that things appear. Okay, let's change it here. Now you see it's 16, but down here you have the sequence order, and sequence 1 is active. You also can change it here so that you say only sequence 1 to 8, that it stops or repeats again on 1. And now it starts again on 1. And this is also handy, for instance, if you have, okay, I do this now very fast. You have something like this, and if you hit this note, it starts always at 1. So if you say, okay, I'm editing now, and I only want to hear 13 until 16, you simply do it here, and then it starts from 8. Oh, and it stops at 8. Okay, 8 to 16, for instance. So you can, if you have the a sequence and you want to have a certain part which you're not sure of, yeah, you can change that. So let's set this back. So now default is again from 1 to 16, it's sequence 1. And if you think, oh well, I want to make it even more complex, you can add an extra sequence, excuse me, which could be from 8 to 16. Or here another one, which could be from 4 to 8. So very complex, essentially a whole song you can do. I think mainly people will use it to have a bit more variation with these things. And so this is the new mode inside Punch-2, which really makes it, expands it a lot in terms of creative use of the sequencer. So let me go to another preset. So I simply pick one of the presets. I go for it. Excuse me, I might have a cold. I simply take here one preset, August groove. Tempo is a bit too high, I go a bit lower. And of course now it repeats each time the same thing. And of course for an audition this is great because you can manually do things yourself, and I showed it in the other video that you can record these notes to trigger these sequences. But now you can have this in an order. So when I go to sequencer mode, and then you see here I can fill it in. Let's see, groove 2. By clicking here, you can hear if something is playing. Groove 4, okay. So here you can make your whole makes it a bit more different. So so I think it's a great addition. We will have also what I mentioned, some new samples we will build in. There is a little update to the FX here. If you hit a pad, it's a bit hard to see which pad is playing, but that it will light up a bit better. So we make a glowing ring once you hit this pad. There's a lot of controls here, which makes it a bit harder to look at. Essentially, these are the 4 FX, and then if you're in the FX Punch FX2 mode, which is then the newer mode, each pad has 4 FX sands, so therefore it looks a bit busy, but we thought it's still handy to show them all. And if you have the FX1 mode, then you see that each pad has its own output instead of using an FX sand. So both options are available, and so that we have some little improvements here. At a later point we have planned, but that will be later this year, that you could pick here different colors for your pads. So you could say bass drum green and snare, for instance, yellow. So Andromeda, I said no, I'm not into emulations. That's not my thing. I think that's more for the other brands to do. It's I don't feel that it triggers my my creativity to and my honest opinion is that these type of sounds can be easily made using a B.I.T or a Sub-Boom Bass 2 or even a Predator 2. So if you say, okay, when I go back here and let's see, most likely it's now a bit too big for the screen. Okay. I think it's huge now on the screen. So I need to adapt the screen again. Okay. Always on top. Yeah, it's way too big. Well, give me 1 second. I can fix this in the mix, as they tell her. Let's see. So I'm resizing here the screen. Here we go. So if you say, okay, I want to have some great analog type of sounds like an Andromeda. Yeah, it's all in here. Yeah, essentially I had an Andromeda here in my studio. It was not fully my cup of tea. I made some presets for them, factory patches. But for instance, in terms of reverb, the reverb from B.I.T is 10 times better than what was inside the original Andromeda. Is of course a bit older machine, but the digital reverbs, which were not that nice sounding. So a reverb which sounds like this, you don't get from the Andromeda. So let's play it. I think this sounds very nice. So if you are interested in analog type of sounds, B.I.T is great. By the way, also Sub-Boom Bass 2. I uploaded to Facebook this sound which was used in this track. This is a live stream from last week. You can check that out. It's a live stream. I did this bass sound which was used in a dance track, and I recreated this one in Sub-Boom Bass 2, and I'm not sure if Sub-Boom Bass 2 is here inside this list, so I pick here Sub-Boom Bass 2. The bass bank, there it is, and there we have this bass. Very nice. Yes. Okay. So Stable Bass 2, definitely something also you need to check. Yeah. Some of these sounds. This is I think Karim, you recall to this sound in B.I.T. I played, this lead sound, Attic Moogie. Well, it's essentially how I create the lead sounds on my Minimoog. I recreated them in B.I.T. So very warm, it moves a bit. Some of the pad sounds, how I create them on the Jupiter 8, I did also recreate here in the pad sounds. Let's see. Let's play them. I shut down my mic because you always hear my clacking of the keyboard. Let me sing if I can. That's from Continents. So there are a few variations. Pad 1, pad. Very classic. Yeah. Yeah. For these type of sounds, let me give you another example. Synthleads. Let me think that. That's the lead sound from this song. I don't know if it is in here. I think it's even more a sync, but I need to look where they are. Okay. Okay, I'm looking. Yeah, okay, so a bit of sidetracking. We have some people who know my older band where I played in, some electronic synth music. Concertanto. Yes. Yes, it's pulse width modulation. What I did was for making the pad sounds on the Jupiter 8 is using, if we go back to the pads here, I think that is even. There's also a nice one. This one uses saw. A lot of chorus. But we need to pulse width modulation pads. Let me see where we can. Well, here we have one. And you see here the pulse width modulation. You see this moving from the square, and in the advanced panel we have dedicated LFOs, and you see this ring here is active, so it means that okay, it's not fully visible. I should go down a bit with the interface. You can see this one has a little ring, so symmetry is active, and you see the amount. So let me shut down oscillator 2. You only hear that now oscillator 1. I use here the bandpass filter, which maybe for some people think, oh, that's weird. Why not a low pass filter? But I use keyboard tracking. So, and the bandpass filter is essentially low pass and high pass together after each other. And then you take a particular range, and then you have essentially the low end gone a bit and the high end gone, and then you get very, very centered sound. Well, maybe I should go now to 12 dB. And now you can hear the, okay, let's shut down all bypass. And now you can hear the modulation, speed. If you shut it down, you have a square. Strange, isn't it? If you hear it solo as a square, you think, okay, this could be not this other sound. But this is what happens if you change the symmetry, modulate the symmetry, then this here, the symmetry, well, I can also do it here. I know I do it manually, but of course, so you get RZ for doing this manually. So we invented LFOs inside a synthesizer, and in the advanced page you address these LFO to have this constant movement. And you see, I use here in the modulation matrix the node to control this LFO speed a bit. So the higher you play, the faster it goes, or a bit slower if you play low. And of course, you need to find the right setting. You put in a second oscillator, which has the same, and you got this chorus sound, which is essentially made using the symmetry modulation. Of course, then you need to have a nice filter setting. And here I have a second filter, which is a notch. So maybe I should have. Yeah, and I use unison to double up the unison voices to make it even more wider, as you see the spread. Add a bit of a affix to it. Really really analog style pad sounds. I could save this one and simply name it save preset as. Of course, if you do your own preset and you change it, it's always wise to save it. And I would call this 2020 Anna pad or something like that. Or no, pad do 2020. Okay, so this is it's not a bad one. Of course, what I always do is modulation wheel. So, and the modulation wheel, you don't have to address it here in the modulation wheel. You always add it here because it's very often used. Okay, now I save this one. Again, save preset. Of course, I need to tag it. And I would set here not a dark, but a bright pad poly mode, a longer tag, pretty long release, and a pad sound. And modulation wheel changes the timbre, save, and pad to 2020. I will zip it, and you can download it later on in the info section below. Okay? So you can try this pad out. Yeah, and then, yeah, just as mentioned, this is the this pulse width modulation, which you can see moving here around. Okay, I'm checking here. The GX1 strings. I don't know the GX1. Is it the Yamaha strings, Sergio? Could be. Yeah, that's also what I did last week. Last week, we talked about this singularity bass, and I created for B.I.T. And I have good news, people. If you log in to to the homepage, you scroll down. Even if you have Explorer, scroll down, download the latest version of B.I.T. and run it. We will have some new sounds. We could not update yet the whole bundle because we are currently in a transition in updating a lot of plugins. Because of the Mac changes, we are updating all the plugins. So the big bundle will have very soon also an update. But if there is a single update for, in this case, B.I.T., and you own the bundle, you also can download the single installer and run that one to have these new presets, because we added now this Sanguinea project Bank 2, and new ones are in Project 1. So Project 1 folder is now full with all its sounds, and even Bank 2 is started. So some very nice presets inside there, especially the sequence sounds I like a lot. Let's play a few. Yeah, some very nice patches. So again, if you own B.I.T, anyhow, log in, download the last version, run it, and you will have these new presets in these two banks. And then also in the bass, I added also here the singularity bass. Where is it again? Here it is. 4 of them, in fact. Nice, isn't it? So looking in the manager, in the basses, these are the new ones. So singularity basses, and then we have in the I still cannot pronounce it. Sanguinea project 1 and Sanguinea project 2. Some very, very nice sounds created by this artist. And yeah, always fun. Glitch FX is a kind of FX which is some. No, we don't have a glitch thing. What we have is XY Transfer as a new plugin, which so I could put it, for instance, here in this one, but that's not the same as glitch, although you can do some weird stuff with it. So here you go to raw Papen and you get the FX range, RP verb 2, and the last one we added is XY transfer. Here it is. So also some weird stuff. But it's different than glitch. There are 3 of the FX which you can combine. You can draw your movement. Yeah, but you need to put that on drums or on a vocal. You can do some very strange things with it. Or you simply can use it, because that's what we added, as a filter bank. Because it's a very nice filter bank with a lot of filter types. So here, this one. And you can record this, so but it's not. It's very different than the glitch FX. So it's no. On somebody discard change. Yes, discard. On Bluetooth, we currently have Bluetooth 2 sizes. This is the so if you go to the back panel, we have 100% and 133 big screen. So now and then people have 4K, and then you need to blow up the user interface by using this in the host program. But of course, would be handy for the 4K users to have also 200%. We are looking into this, but also keep in mind that at a given moment we will release Blue 3, which will take quite some months, but that is planned. And then of course that will be a bit easier. So for the 200% version, we also will blow up the current size, because then it's for the users maybe a bit handy. So we will not invest in, again, paying a lot of money for the designer to create a 200% version, because that's very expensive for us. And so we have only 2 sizes, and you can always also pick this in the preset menu. You see normal screen or big screen, and big screen is in our case 133%. But I think the normal screen also will grow once we start Blue 3, because even in the normal size, it's for instance, if you have the normal size Bluetooth compared to the normal size B.I.T, is B.I.T already bigger, because the screens became bigger. So now 1080 pixels high is the standard, and people buy bigger screens. I have here a very nice setup with a 3300 versus 1400 height, so mine is pretty high. And of course, above that you have the 4K monitors. Okay, so Christian, about the size 200% version, we need to dive into that. We hope to have that soon, and in case you use a 4K screen. Okay, time is flying, isn't it? Yeah, the good thing is, we had this Blue Month today, and I started with the some of the sounds of it. Let's play it again, simply to show what type of sounds it has. tempo is a bit lower because I changed the tempo. So this is using the XY to control the volumes of the oscillators, which are having a FM setup. So we have in this month, you can check in the playlist of YouTube, the last of, in this case, when today is finished, the last 4 streams are a lot about Bluetooth and the things you can do with it. Yeah, with Blue 3, the new features what we will have is that people regular ask that some users like to load in their own samples. So because if you look here at the oscillator part, you can see we have a range of samples which are selected by us, but we would also have then the user way that you can select the own samples. Of course, we are aware that Bluetooth is a very deep synthesizer because it has the algorithms. You can do FM. It has even wave shaping and phase distortion. It has multi-envelopes. I think some parts will be more graphic. So LFOs will be more graphic. So it's a kind of new way of thinking. But of course, you see here's a modulation sequencer, and an arpeggiator. We will make, for instance, the sequencer page, which has the option for wave sequencing. We make that bigger so that you have a bigger field and easily can add it. So it's also a upgrade that you can work a bit easier with this machine, and also the easy page, which is, I think, very important that we overwork that one with some new ideas so that people, if they are not that much into synthesis, that they can easily work with Bluetooth. So there are also some other synthesis ideas I have in my mind. If you look at, for instance, B.I.T, we have the string model inside of it, and I'm thinking maybe we could do some new stuff with using the string models in the oscillator. So there are plenty of ideas. And of course, we will move away then from the system which we have now with the bank manager, which makes that a bank is 128 presets. It's the FXB format, which is, always was the original format for VST, but everybody moves away from it, and all presets should be single preset files, and just like B.I.T, B.I.T, B.I.T. So there's plenty things to do. I think also in the chord mode we will do some other things. So when I go here to the chord mode, it's down here. It's the case. So if I go, for instance, to the pads, I go to pads and take, for instance, Arctic Circle. Just simply play this sound. I can use this in chord mode, so I would then do learn, I play a chord, let go, and then let's play, and then you have the chord. You have strumming. So this we also would update and make it the same as in Predator 2, because in Predator 2 we do this. Okay, let me go to Predator 2. We have a different arrange. So this is Predator 2. Also here we have, I think in the ambient we have some clusters. Let me see. Let me see. Or I can make myself one. So this is a sound, and here we have also in the play mode chord. So watch what happens if I go here and I say, oh, I want to have a 3-note chord. I click 3. Then this opens here, and then you can see that by detuning the pitch. So this is the root key, of course, note 1, but I can tune it. I don't have to play the chord anymore. I simply, by changing the tuning, I can create a chord. So if I want to have 4, I can have 4. And of course, you can, with chord, you have still the strumming. Or synced. So this is a bit easier to control and better to handle. And here we even have the panning option, so this is cool. Watch what happens now. No, it's the MPE. We're diving into this multi-MPE controller. We wanted to test this out with B.I.T. I discussed this together with John Iris, the programmer. So B.I.T. will be the first one which would have multi-MPE, which essentially means that each node gets its own MIDI channel in which you then have pitch bend per note. So that's the trick. Kat asks about loading samples. No, well, it's not like a Akai, or you need to drag drop the samples. So these are little things we can improve. Yeah, we see, for instance, you could go to the manager of Predator 2, you see you can give a preset a star. If you think, oh, this is a nice one, you give it a star. So all these the bank manager are all now in all products the same. All the new releases have the same system as Predator 2. So Suburban Bass 2, B.I.T, Facto, you name it. Okay. And MPE, yeah, that would be something which would be for Bluetooth. Absolutely something, but we will do this with the B.I.T, because with B.I.T, I think the plan would be is that at least that would be my idea, is if you go to B.I.T, you see here, for instance, you have a synth sound. It's 80 brass sound, which is essentially 16 voice. Play mode would be then, instead of poly mono of one of the other modes, would be MPE, which means that if you have then pitch bend here, a setting, this would be per note. So that's the system. So we are looking into it, but everything takes a bit of time, and we had, of course, a very busy time. Apple gets made that we are very busy in had to update the all the plugins with to keep Mac compatible with the new OS version. So that, yeah, sometimes these maintenance thing takes also time to create. We are working on Prisma also for have Prisma. Also a 150% and 200% version. So much is going on. Okay, yeah, we had this sound. Because, yeah, this month is still Bluetooth. This one uses 3 times Bluetooth. One of my favorite sounds in Prisma. Yeah, about loop points, I would, you could add a editor inside of it, but if you work with samples, and for instance, you have your own samples, for instance, from one of your synthesizers, the best is to loop it very good inside your, let's say, a wave lab, because that's very good for looping, finding the nice loop points. It could be possible, but it's a lot of work, and it depends. What do you want to loop a a pad sound, or do you want to loop a drum loop, it's not so easy. But of course, in Bluetooth 3, we have this idea so that people drag drop their own samples and combine them with the samples and the other sounds from Bluetooth. So you see here I open this one, because this sound, for instance, if I would play it solo, I can play it solo, is real strings. And well, believe me, it took quite a while for me to create everything for this. These are our own collection. Some of the strings we purchased from Emu, some string sounds, some cryo sounds. I did a lot of sampling my own. For instance, if you go to Bluetooth and you go to synth leads, and this you will find also in Facto, this bottle here. This one is also sampled here in my studio. So yeah, it's, if you have these type of samples yourself, it's of course cool. And but sampling is not easy, and looping is also not easy. So but we have some users which requested it, and I think the the big majority of the users will use the samples we provide and the sounds inside Bluetooth. Okay. XY controllers, MIDI controller for external synth. Yeah, we have some requests about people asking for or Arpeggiator as a MIDI plugin. But I think there are some MIDI plugins already. And one thing I still need to ask John, if it would be possible, for instance, if the Arpeggiator, for instance, of Predator 2, which is a very or Bluetooth, if we could make it MIDI out in some way. People would like to use it in combination with hardware, which is a cool idea. But I'm not sure if that is, or for instance, the arpeggiator here because here we also have some ARP and sequence sounds. So that it would send out sequences here. So that's an idea as a MIDI out, but I think the MIDI, the XY as a MIDI plugin, that would be pretty unique. I think it's not there that there is a XY, which we have in Predator 2, which a lot of features, or Go-To, for instance, also has one. Let me see. Need to go down here. Here we have. And of course the XY is here used for controlling and changing the let me see if we can find. Ooh, that's a nasty one. Okay, but I was looking for the XY. Let me see. Here he is. Can make it visual. And you see here it sends out, but yeah, it could be an idea so that you have the XY sending out MIDI controllers. Down here is almost like a piano. And it changes the waveform. User waveform 1 and user waveform 2 mixes between them. So if I go to user wave, big screen, user wave 1 and 2. Sounds more synth clavier. Yeah, guys, there's so much to tell about our synthesizers. We have some, check the playlist with live streams. I talk a lot about Predator 2 and the waves, what you can do. It's our synthesizers are really, in terms of features, pretty sophisticated. Normal view. Okay, here we are again. So yeah, here we have the arpeggiator, which would be maybe nice that it would send out these as MIDI notes. So I keep that in mind. Okay, we are already 5 minutes over time. 1 hour. I do the live streaming. And yeah, I would say, guys, maybe you have an idea for next week, or write it down, and next week we could talk together. Or maybe you say, okay, Rob, how do I make a certain sound, or one thing I don't understand from synthesizers, or a question from our plugins. Just ask. It's fun for me to do, also to have you guys. And yeah, in case you missed this this stream, just you can start at the beginning again, and it's in a few minutes in the playlist live stream. And this preset, the pad preset from B.I.T, I will put in the info section below. And as mentioned, we have these new presets for B.I.T, so go to the download page, download the latest B.I.T installer, and run it to have these new presets. Thank you for watching. Keep well, and we see each other next week, hopefully. Bye.